I know for sure most of my homies don't think he was just trolling.
I don't know, man.
For sure he was trolling. He was trolling. He was attention seeking, man. Listen, I'm not gonna sit here and give you no reason of why that man put on a dress. I'm just saying that it was a troll move, and it broke him into the algorithm and that shit gets mentioned over and over. I'm not putting no pause shit on. I'm saying he paused. I'm saying that nigga did it for attention seeking.
I mean, he's a pause for sure.
You say he paused for sure? He paused?
Yeah, for sure he paused. I'm not saying he's a homosexual man. I'm telling you, he does 1,000 things as pause.
Yeah, because
now is he trolling or not? I don't know. You know what I mean? That's the thing. I don't know. But if I did a song with Thug, that's what people would be asking me. They'd be asking me personally, like, what's up with him for real? You can't give us no cultural cachet. It's actually, honestly, it's kind of like at the core of street urban culture, it's frowned upon because you wearing dresses. Don't get me wrong, the niggas who ain't tripping, that's getting high, that's partying, they gonna be like, oh, you got the Thug feature? That's solid, G, that's player. But at the essence of it, the solid stomp down, you know what I mean? They gonna be like, oh man, you folk that wearing that dress, man, really, they gonna be asking you if this nigga like men. You get what I'm saying? That sound bad?
The rap game been rocked ever since Young Thug's jail phone calls leaked online. These weren't just casual convos with family checking in. These were raw conversations where Thug was gossiping heavy, throwing shade at legends, and exposing secrets he probably thought would never see daylight. And now with the tapes public, his reputation as a real one is getting shredded. Instead of looking like a soldier fighting the system, Thug sounds like he's playing both sides. Friendly in the industry on one hand, clowning folks behind closed doors on the other. One of the biggest shocks came from Thug's words about Kendrick Lamar. Thug bragged on the call that Kendrick needed him for clout and said Kendrick would never be bigger than Drake. To some fans, it sounded like pure jealousy. Kendrick don't need nobody for clout. He's been certified as one of the greatest for a decade. The disrespect hit harder because Kendrick once reached out to Thug, even showing him love in public. But now with the call leaked, it looks like Thug was fake supporting him while secretly downplaying his name. The Westcoast wasn't having it. Veteran voices like Glasses Malone clapped back, reminding folks that Kendrick don't need to ride anyone's wave, especially Thug's. He even clowned Thug's confusing image. The dresses, the trolling, the antics, saying that while Kendrick built his brand on lyrical respect, Thug was chasing attention. Fans agreed, saying the call made Thug look insecure, especially with Kendrick fresh off torching the game with his Drake battle and winning massive respect. But it wasn't just Kendrick that got hit. On the calls, Thug was name-dropping all kinds of people. He mocked Gucci Mane, Migos, and even Lil Wayne, the same Wayne he disrespected years ago when he threw shade during their beef. At this point, it feels like a pattern. Thugs smiling in faces while trash-talking behind their backs. And now that these tapes are out, people are seeing him as two-faced, not loyal. To make things even wilder, Thug let slip some industry secrets. He bragged about rappers paying for chart placements, using bots to boost streams, and labels pulling strings behind the scenes. It was the kind of talk fans always suspected, but never heard directly from someone that deep in the game. Instead of exposing corruption, though, Thug just made himself look messy, like he's the one airing dirty laundry instead of focusing on beating his own RICO case. At the time these calls were recorded, Thug was already fighting for his freedom. But instead of sounding like a man focused on survival, he sounded like he was spilling tea from behind bars. And once those words hit the internet, they stopped being private combos. They turned into receipts, giving his enemies more ammo and making his allies second-guess their loyalty.
The thing about that is, those conversations was private, and we all judging this man now off a private conversation, which is, to me, is out of pocket because if we all start getting into our private conversations, ain't nobody everybody got something to say about somebody.
Oh, so if I tapped into your private conversations,
you probably would.
I wouldn't fuck with you no more.
Right, here you wouldn't, but then if you keep reading or something, or
you like, oh no, I'm fucking my boy right here.
If
I tapped into your private conversation right now, I wouldn't fuck with you no more. That's what you're saying.
No.
But that don't mean it's right.
Exactly, it's private.
It's a private conversation. We caught it, and he said what he said.
Oh no, now it's out there. Yeah, so
shame on you.
Let's judge it for this private conversation.
Yeah, we got to judge you.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely shame on him. Shame on him. This is the reason why, hey Doc, can I get a drop? I'm like, no, like I get it because
He knows people are fake and talking behind his back like, when you're are weirdos.
You coming for me? You like, all right, now you want the feature? Because he had said something else while he was in there. Or right when he first got out, he didn't understand like why Dot used the Atlanta and the Not Like Us verse or whatever the case may be. And Dot, he be tapped in too, so it's probably some little small little clip in the interview that he said something. Dot probably made his decision right there. Like,
as if going at Kendrick wasn't wild enough, more of Thug's calls leaked showing him dissing Lil Durk. A move that shocked almost everybody. See, when Gunna took that Alford plea and walked out of jail, the internet painted him as a snitch, and a lot of rappers cut ties. But Durk actually stood up for Thug, holding it down for YSL in interviews and music, making it clear he still had Thug's back. That's why fans couldn't believe what they were hearing when the jail calls dropped. Thug was talking slick about Durk, clowning him like he wasn't really that solid. The fallout was quick. Folks tied to OTF started calling Thug a hypocrite. They pointed out how Durk defended him against the Gunna snitch wave, yet Thug was in jail gossiping about him. Some even labeled Thug a rat himself, saying if you can sit on the phone dissing allies while your people are getting indicted, you ain't moving loyal. That's a heavy accusation for someone already caught up in a RICO case. This moment exposed how messy things can get when private conversations hit the public. Jail calls are supposed to be between you and your people. But once they leak, every word becomes fuel. In Thug's case, dissing Durk made him look fake to one of the few superstars still standing next to him. And in hip-hop, that's dangerous. If allies start questioning your loyalty, it leaves you exposed. Not just in court, but in the streets. Fans also noticed the irony. For months, Thug's camp had been pushing the narrative that Gunna folded by taking a plea, that he abandoned YSL for his own freedom. But now here's Thug, talking down on Durk, the same man who stood up for him. People started asking, who's really loyal here? Gunna stayed silent, focused on rebuilding his career, while Thug's words behind bars painted him as two-faced. The contrast made Thug's situation look worse. It didn't stop with Durk either. Thug threw shade at other rappers who once showed him love. He dismissed Migos like they were washed, cracked jokes about Gucci, like he wasn't a pioneer, and even hinted Kendrick wasn't really respected in Atlanta circles. Instead of sounding like a general holding his empire together from behind bars, Thug sounded like a man bitter and out of touch. And once again, the internet replayed those calls over and over, picking apart every word. The OTF reaction hit hardest though. They made it clear, if you're in jail talking crazy about people riding for you, you ain't solid. In their eyes, Thug's words proved he wasn't the leader fans made him out to be. And when you're fighting for your life in court, losing respect in the culture makes the fall even heavier.
I wouldn't have did a song with Thug
before the dress.
Yeah, maybe before the dress, but I don't know. I don't think we fit. I don't think everybody fit with what I do. I didn't think Drake fit with what I do. I don't think everybody fits with what I do. Hell, sometimes I used to be worried, do Dot fit with what I do?
So the dress just made you for sure, like, yeah.
Oh, that was it.
With that,
yeah,
confirmed it.
Sure.
I mean, it's stilettos.
Once he wore that dress, it was like, no, I'm not playing none of his songs. I don't know what Thug was acting as.
He's acting like a gay man.
But again, it's not quite to. When I'm saying what I'm saying, I'm not putting Thug is he's a gifted, talented person. He is a tremendous talent. Like what he does vocally as a rap artist is dope.
We know he's talented, but is he intelligent?
I think he had to.
The leaks didn't just damage Thug in the present. They dragged up all his old beefs and disrespect from the past. Fans immediately remembered how he went at Lil Wayne years back. Wayne, a legend who paved the way for so many, including Thug, was blindsided when Thug named his project Barter 6 as a play on Wayne's Carter 6. Then came the shade, the subliminals, and the infamous incident where Wayne's tour bus got shot up, a case that prosecutors tied to people close to YSL. Even if Thug never pulled the trigger, the connection stained his reputation. Now, with these jail calls, it felt like deja vu. Thug clowning Durk, Kendrick, Gucci, Migos. It looked like a pattern of betrayal. Smile in your face, then cut you behind your back. Fans started pointing out that this ain't new. Thug been disrespecting OGs and peers for years, only now it's caught on tape. The difference? This time he can't spin it as trolling or publicity. These weren't songs or interviews. These were private calls, exposing how he really talks when he thinks nobody's listening. The Kendrick Lamar comments kept echoing the loudest. Saying Kendrick needed him for clout felt delusional to fans, especially with Kendrick's career-defining run against Drake fresh in everyone's memory. West Coast voices stepped up hard in defense. Glasses Malone went on record clowning Thug's whole image, the dresses, the trolling, the confused persona. He said Kendrick built his career off lyrical dominance, while Thug leaned on antics. To him, there was no comparison. Fans agreed, saying Thug sounded bitter, especially since Kendrick didn't even diss him back. He just ignored him. Meanwhile, TDE affiliates tried to soften the blow. They admitted the calls were private combos recorded during a stressful time, with Thug sitting in jail fighting a massive RICO case. They argued the context matters, that he wasn't thinking clearly. But even they couldn't deny the damage. Once the public hears you dissing legends and allies, there's no way to put that toothpaste back in the tube. People don't forget betrayal. What made things worse is how the leaks lined up with Thug's court battle. Prosecutors have been painting YSL as a dangerous gang, not just a rap label. Now, instead of Thug looking like a focused leader, his leaked calls make him look like a messy gossip. It feeds the narrative that he ain't solid, that even from behind bars, he's more worried about clowning peers than holding down his empire. And that's why the internet dragged him so hard. These weren't just bad looks. They confirmed what a lot of critics already believed. Thug is talented, but he's reckless. He burns bridges, disrespects the people who help him, and then acts surprised when it blows back. The jail call leaks just put it all on blast in Thug's own words.
I mean, that's cool because he didn't get what he wanted. He wanted a feature. I'm explaining to Thug why that didn't matter. What you represent to Drake ain't what you represent to us. And you got to know that. Like, what you represent to Drake ain't what you represent to us. Don't none of us give two about no another street. I can't do no song with no in this business. That's going to give me cultural cachet.
But should we be shocked about Thug's attitude towards the situation? The nigga wear dresses. Like, a nigga who acting like a young lady in the situation and who wear dresses. Like, he act like a hoe in that situation. He didn't get his way. Now that nigga just saying bullshit.
But that was his private conversation. But just the thought, I'm just really being honest with why it's different for us, homie. Like, we don't need you for that. We don't need Wham for that. We don't need 21 for that. Like, and yes, I'm speaking for Dot. I'm speaking for J-Rock. I'm speaking for Q. I'm speaking for Show. I'm speaking for all of us that really came up the hard way in the streets, that got our own reputation and our own cultural cachet. We don't need y'all for that.
With all the leaks hitting the internet, the biggest question now is, what's next for young Thug? Because these calls didn't just stir up gossip, they cut deep into his reputation both in the culture and in the courtroom. In the eyes of the streets, Thug's whole image was built on being solid. A boss who took the heat while holding it down for YSL. But when those jail calls leaked, the loyalty he preached started to look shaky. Dissing Lil Durk while Durk defended him, calling Kendrick Lamar thirsty for clout when Kendrick been one of the most respected in the game, clowning Migos, Gucci, and Wayne after they all showed him love at some point. It all added up to a picture of a man who couldn't be trusted. Even fans who once rode hard for YSL admitted it made Thug look two-faced. And in court, these leaks don't help either. Prosecutors are already working overtime to frame YSL as a criminal enterprise. Now, with Thug's own words on his tape, they can argue he wasn't just a rapper minding his business. He was a manipulator, someone stirring division while running his crew. Even if the calls weren't about crimes, the disrespect and loose talk paint him as messy, not disciplined. And juries pay attention to character. Meanwhile, Thug's allies are stuck in a tough spot. Do they defend him publicly and risk looking fake themselves? Or do they stay silent and let the internet tear him apart? So far, most rappers have kept quiet. Even Gunna, who caught heavy backlash after his plea deal, looks cleaner right now compared to Thug. Gunna stayed focused on music and avoided drama. Thug, on the other hand, let his private gossip become his downfall. For Key Glock, Lil Baby, Durk, and others who once stood beside Thug, this changes the conversation. It's hard to ride for somebody who clowns you the second you leave the room. That's the kind of betrayal people don't forgive easily. The fans feel it too. Thug went from being seen as a fearless innovator, the artist who broke rules and made Atlanta the center of hip-hop, to being dragged online as a gossiping rat. Memes flooded timelines, calling him Chatty Patty Thug, and Slime Snake. Once the internet stamps you, it's hard to shake. So what's the legacy here? For all his talent and influence, these leaked calls show a darker truth. Thug might have been his own worst enemy. His music inspired a generation, but his loose tongue and shady comments could tarnish everything he built. In a culture where loyalty is everything, getting exposed as disloyal can be worse than any RICO charge. At the end of the day, young Thug is still fighting for his freedom. But in the court of public opinion, he's already lost something bigger: the trust and respect that made him a leader in the first place. And whether he beats the case or not, the leaks prove one thing: sometimes your own words can do more damage than your enemies ever could.